think about that for a little bit later, to the extent that you know. I know not all of you were raised in that home, but it's an interesting question if you know something about it. And then how do you think about it? For now, though, there's so much to cover in this course, so I am going to push forward. We still need to talk about Erikson and emotion regulation and attachment. So one thing that a lot of parents choose battles on is food. And it's important that your child gets good nutrition. You have to, right? You need those green vegetables. You need to make sure there's some balance in the diet and stuff like that. And one thing to just be aware of is that you create your child's preferences. So we like our food salted. Your infant, if you never salt their food, they get accustomed to what the food tastes like without salt. So we often think, oh, I could never eat that. There's no salt. My baby doesn't want to eat that either, but that's not true. And so a lot of you and my food preferences were probably shaped by processed foods, which are extremely high in sodium. And so now we all have a big appetite for salt, but it's not true everywhere, right? And it doesn't have to be true for your child. You create their food preferences. And so infants like sweet. Breast milk is sweet, so they do like sweet. But that doesn't mean it has to be sugary sweet, like mashed bananas are sweet. That's a little bit healthier alternative, right? Or unsweetened applesauce, right? There's a natural sweetness that's associated with healthy foods, but if you give your child a lot of high sugar foods, well, that's what they're going to prefer. And anything with less sugar isn't going to taste good. And so your infant is born with a clean palate. They don't have preferences. And manufacturers, they capitalize on those things that we all come to be addicted to: salt, sugar, fat. They capitalize on that. So you have to be really wary when you're buying any food that comes in a package, any food where you don't know the source. Even something like cooked beans, go with the dried beans and cook them yourself, because there's sodium in those cooked beans. And so just be aware of that. And especially when you're starting your kids on their eating habits. So create good preferences, but don't make it too much of a battle. I don't know, different things work for different kids. Maybe some of you have ideas, but, try just 3 bites. You don't have to eat it all. Try 3 bites, and always kind of being consistent, not making a huge deal out of it, because then the battles can start. And then, of course, modeling it, right? If you're all the time munching potato chips and Twinkies or whatever, you're not going to persuade your child to eat, carrots and beets. So it comes with you too. So a little bit there, and it's related to emotion regulation and choosing your battles. And so emotion regulation, well, we might be aware of it in ourselves. When emotion comes up for you, how well do you do in just managing it so that you can get the things that are good for you in life, like crying in public, right? In general, it's something as adults we don't want to do. And so, or if you get angry, how good are you at kind of quelling it, handling it in a mature way, recognizing the emotion? Well, this starts in childhood, controlling emotional states and infancy, right? Initially the infants are working on reflexes, right? They're just responding from the need to survive and crying, but later they're working under control. So how well do they soothe themselves when they wake up? That's emotion regulation. If they know to hold on to their blanket and rub it on their cheek and then they fall back asleep, that's the start of emotion regulation. Okay, and so later on, there's more emotion, right? Someone takes their toy, there's big emotion, frustration, anger, sadness, all kinds of emotion. So kids have to learn how to manage it. And so there's a few things that a parent can do to help. One is consistent routines. And the benefit of consistent routines is you're less likely to have a tired, hungry kid on your hands. You know how you are when you're tired and hungry. And your child, you can magnify that, right? And so these routines, whatever routines you can do, eating at consistent times, consistent bedtime routine, some things that are consistent will help. Maternal types. Oh, here, I know I have this in here. The turtle technique I'm going to show you in a moment. Talking about your own feelings. We talked about that a minute ago. Like acknowledging your own emotion and being aware of it. Handle adult conflicts prudently, like if you're shouting at the neighbor all the time, throwing things down, you know, how well are you going to teach your child? And if you do have that happen, acknowledging it, talking about it, right? Being honest for everyone. And then here is this time in, which is that quietly and holding the child until their emotions settle. And I like this turtle method. This is a way of teaching your child to become aware of their own emotions and know what to do with them. And so very often emotions, the first signs of it are in our body. Like, how can you recognize when you're starting to feel angry about something? Where does it come up? Probably not in your head, I'm feeling angry, but where? None of you have ever been angry? Oh no, it's just me. I feel so alone. Do you notice it in your hands? Do you notice it in your cheeks? Do you notice it in your chest? You know, we feel anger physiologically, and this point of this turtle method is to have the child to recognize their feelings. And how do they recognize their feelings? Well, they have to know when they're starting to feel angry. They can't wait for it to get into throwing the toy, right? You have to know right away, oh, my cheeks are getting red, I'm starting to feel angry, right? And then stop your body, because young children, they want to act right away. It's hard for them to put on the brakes, but they can learn. When my heart starts racing, when I feel my fists like this, stop, put a pause. And then they talk about this turtle method, which is just going into your metaphorical shell, just being quiet before you take any action, just 3 breaths, get the parasympathetic system going. And then once that should induce a calming state, those breaths should induce parasympathetic activation. And then what's another solution to this emotion? So the emotion recognition is important. What are you feeling right now? Are you feeling frustrated, or is it more sad? Or is it angry? Which is it? Identify emotions, talk about them. What do you think? Do you like it? Anyone who's a parent? Much harder to do than to say. But what do you think about it in general?
I heard of the stop and take a breath.
Yes. I don't know the whole acronym, but it's another metaphor like this, probably without the turtle shell, I bet. But just introducing the pause. And beneficial for all of us. You know what happens when you don't pause. When you click send on that angry email or text or something, or, you know, say those words that came into your head. All right, emotion regulation, I just have to show, it's kind of funny. We have 2 different reactions to Jimmy Kimmel's little act of having parents. He'll explain it.
Right now, it's time for one of our most beloved, probably our most anticipated tradition on the show, my annual Halloween Candy YouTube challenge. For each of the past 4 years, I've asked parents to pretend they ate all their kids' Halloween candy and then post video of the reaction to YouTube. We never seem to run out of participants for this. Every year, I think kids are going to know, they watch these videos, or maybe they'll be too old to fall for it. Every year, there's a whole new crowd. I will be able to do this for as long as people continue to have sex. So we got a record number of videos this year, well over 1,000. It was a mammoth undertaking to go through all of them, but we did. We narrowed it down to what we felt were the best of the best, and it's time now for a holiday treat. It is, hey, Jimmy Kimmel, I told my kids I ate all their Halloween candy.
Last night, after you guys went to bed,
What?
me and Dad ate all your candy.
Really? Or candy? Me, Mommy, Daddy, I hate everybody here, Daddy. Are you kidding me?
No, I
Are
mean,
you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, Dad?
I got really hungry and I ate it all. Well, this time it's not a joke.
I'm going to check out a candy. If I see no candy, you are in big trouble, young lady.
James?
Okay. And interesting, right? Because you can kind of see some of the parenting there. Okay, and I just wanted to put these two on, and I want you to think as you watch these two about how is emotion regulation, how good are they at controlling their emotion, and how do you think they've been parented?
Starring two chocolatey treats on a stick.
Oye, can I borrow your gummy eye?
What for?
And one more thing, on Monday night, I issued a challenge to the parents.
I'm just gonna fast forward to those two little guys. I think they are the last one. Here we go.
I ate all your candy. You have no more Halloween candy left.
What? She ate it. What the heck?
Don't you guys think you ate enough candy last night?
No, I only have like one bite of candy. You serious? Then you ate the rest? Oh, good for you. Now you're gonna probably get a bellyache. That's why you shouldn't eat so much candy. Mom, that's 2.
To what?
2 bags of candy.
2 plus 2 is equals 5.
No, 4. You were so close. Did you see how much I had? I went to a lot of houses.
I know. I ate it all. It tasted so good, especially the peanut butter cups.
You sneaky mom!
Thanks to all the sneaky moms and sneaky dads.
Okay. Parenting style? How was the emotion regulation overall, would you say? Pretty good emotion regulation, I'd say. You know, the little guy was still learning. Okay. What do you think about what kind of parenting style they might have tended to use? Like, what kind of responses was the little boy giving? Was it like, if I find you ate that candy, you're in trouble, young lady? Was it that? Or was it a little different from that?
He was a lot more like communicative, like he was expressive how annoying he was.
Yeah. Did you see any logical consequences that he was bringing to the forefront? What's a logical consequence of eating a lot of candy? I'm gonna get a stomach ache. Right. He gave a little instruction and empathy. I worked really hard for that candy. Yeah, all right. I had to show those. Okay, so I think we can look at emotion regulation and we can look at parenting style as it manifests in the different children. I think for now we'll skip the marshmallow test. We might come back to it later. What time is it? And then you'll see some of these items that we're not going to use right now, but briefly, let's touch on Erikson's 8 stages. I'll show you a few more questions, and then we're going to go into attachment. So Erikson is important throughout the lifespan. He offers us the psychosocial stages of development that you'll recall, where each stage has a crisis. He calls them a crisis. So down at the bottom, those of you on Zoom, we're looking at trust versus mistrust in those first 18 kind of months of life. And then we come to autonomy versus shame and doubt, 18 months to about 3. And then in these preschool years, or what your book calls early childhood, initiative versus guilt. And so we're just going to talk about these 3 stages a little bit more because they play out so very well in everything that's offered. And so once again, this trust versus mistrust, we've talked about quite a lot. The infant needs to know that it's loved and that it can trust the people around it to look after its need. Okay, now we'll see this play out when we talk about attachment. And we know that what the attribute is, or the strength that emerges from that, is called drive and hope. I mean, they develop hope in a sense of like wanting to be in the world. That's their drive, wanting to be in the world. And so what the parenting style is responsive, consistent love. You can hardly talk to a child, even in reason with a child, and say, I was angry just then. No. This is just responsive, consistent love. And then this one is pretty interesting, autonomy versus shamed adult. Autonomy, acting independently. Okay, making some decisions for yourself, making choices on your own. And it really links well to this toilet training, because just think about it. The child controls their own process of elimination. Like no matter how much the parent might be coercive and want to enforce their will, they cannot make their child go to the bathroom if the child doesn't want to, right? That's it. The child has control. So that's the classic example of autonomy, because just naturally the child has it in that area, okay? Versus shame out. And another word that comes up at this age, anyone guess what the word is? It starts with an N.
Naughty.
And it ends with an O? No, that's autonomy too, right? That's autonomy. The child learns the word no. That's their will, right? And so what do the parents have to do? It's a delicate navigation, isn't it? Because the parents you want your kid to have autonomy. You know, their strength, they're going to emerge as self-control, learning boundaries, but also courage, and most importantly, will, like the opportunity to act on just to act, to be determined about something, okay? So what a fine line to navigate. You don't want your child saying no all the time and asserting their will all the time, and yet you want your child to develop autonomy. So what can a parent do? And so it says it up there, so I won't wait for an answer. It says giving choices within reason, right? Not choosing, do you want to go, well, school wouldn't be a thing, but do you want to come to grandma's with us or stay home? Obviously, that's not a reasonable choice for someone at this age. For a 2-year-old, that's not an option. The child can't stay home. The child has to come to grandma's. What choice could they have within that scenario of having to go to grandma's? What choice could the child have?
If the child could bring something, entertain.
Okay,
themselves.
would you like to bring your, stuffed teddy or Blinky, right? There's a choice. That's another choice they could have. To give them just a little more autonomy.
Ask them what they'd like to wear.
Oh, yeah. Would you rather wear your red shirt or your green shirt? So that's the kind of idea here, to establish this autonomy. And just a little bit on this toileting guidelines, just because it comes up in this context. So it doesn't seem spot on here, but it isn't the prime example of autonomy. But when is the child ready? Well, they have to have awareness of when they have gone in their diaper, right? They have to know when they're going, which isn't automatic. And they don't like the feel of a wet or dirty diaper. Maybe they become interested in it, and you've observed that they stay dry for more than 2 hours during the day, then they might be ready. And obviously, if they can feel like they're taking pride in going, then they're developing autonomy just in going to the potty. Right? And I did put that quote down, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You can lead a child to the toilet, but you can't make them eliminate. Okay. And then the last stage in this little paradigm, up till the end of the preschool years, up until the beginning of the age of reason, 3 to 5-year-old, what your book calls early childhood, and that's initiative versus guilt. And taking initiative just means doing something on their own, right? You've taken the initiative to apply to college or whatever, right? You maybe took the initiative to get the class you want. It starts at this stage, taking the initiative. What happens when this 3-year-old takes the initiative? I have an example here of a child on the left taking the initiative to make a sandwich. Child on the right in a very clean kitchen. I was trying to find the opposite of that. Deciding to take the initiative and help wash dishes. But very often when children take the initiative, the consequences, first off, the job takes longer because the child is helping. Secondly, it makes a mess. Or it uses way too much jelly, you know, right? Or uses up half a loaf of bread. My younger son went to a Montessori preschool where they had it was great. They had this little tiny kitchen that the kids could use, and anytime when they wanted something, they had to make it themselves or peel their own carrot or whatever. So he came home knowing how to make a sandwich, and he really liked mayonnaise. And he decided the best thing to do was to make a sandwich, a mayonnaise sandwich. And then, kind boy that he was, he decided he should make one for everybody. A mayonnaise sandwich. And you know, there's 5 people in the family. Half a loaf of bread, right? It's a lot of food. And so what do you do in that case? We can't just be having mayonnaise sandwiches all the time and using up all that bread, right? So should we punish him? Yell at him? No.
To him,
What'd you say?
talk to him.
Yeah, well, we should thank him, maybe, right? Because he had a kind heart in offering it. And he took the initiative, and then we can maybe talk about asking people if they want a sandwich first, you know, or something, you know. But definitely he shouldn't be shamed for taking the initiative, right? And that's a question that I have coming up here too is, yes, they think they're going to get their own cereal, but of course they're going to spill the milk when they first do it, right? Okay. And I have a few examples here that I'll read to you, but I think I'm gonna add them to the quiz, so we won't talk about them right now. Well, I mean, I guess maybe we won't talk about them right now, no. But 2-month-old Devin has been irritable and screaming for a week now. His parents haven't been able to identify the problem, and they've had very little sleep for the past 4 days. Which of Erikson's stage crisis is being dealt with here?